Hello folks, this is Solo once again. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is from a normal game that was done with some of my friends here. In this game alongside me are the Walloper, Rienzo, Drill Warrior, El Grillo, and I think that's everybody. We had 5 people in the lobby, including myself. It's always more fun when you can get a group of people together to do one of these games, and we ended up having more than half the lobby here, which was a lot of fun. And I'll try to talk about some of the team comps that are being played by Grillo and Rienzo, Walloper, and Drill Warrior as we go through. Unfortunately, though, the footage has to be pre-recorded. There are no replays for Teamfight Tactics. Whether we're ever going to get them at this point seems questionable. So I will just cast off of the footage that I have here. In this video, we're going to be looking at a team composition that is based on Warlords, the Warlords trait, and also eventually on the Keeper trait. So I'll be talking more about those as they go along. I have actually pulled a Nidalee off of the starting carousel, who does have Warlord as one of her 2 traits. And there I'm going to grab Jarvan, who is another champion who has Warlord as his trait. And we're just going to go pretty early on into this trait. Now, I do not end up taking the first chosen that's presented to me. Maokai, you can see there's a Maokai there with Elderwood plus Brawler, and the chosen trait happened to roll as Elderwood. If it had rolled as Brawler, I probably would have picked this up, but I wasn't really sure what I would do with an Elderwood version of Maokai, and I was holding off on picking this up in the hopes that I'd be able to find something better. That's always a bit dangerous. When you're not playing a Chosen, you are giving up quite a bit of power, and the higher you get up on the ladder, the more people will punish you for not having a Chosen in the game. Because, like I said, the Chosen are stronger versions of the default units, and of course they're automatically 2-starred. And if you're not playing a Chosen unit, then you're probably going to be weaker than those that are. But I just didn't see a good way to get the Elderwood in play. I'm sure I could have found something. Instead, I am playing a Warlord setup here, although it is with 3 1-star units, so that's probably not going to be too great unless I can find something else here. We will see what pops up in this last minion round, and then hopefully I'll be able to put something together before we end up hitting the other players. Let's see. Oh, I end up getting an Eve there, and I end up selling that so I can pre-level, and I go ahead and pre-level to level 4. So that's going to allow me to sell the Nidalee because I wanted to get that chain vest off of her. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab another Vi because I might as well try to get closer to Vi 2-star. And then I realize I'm 1 off the Warlord trait. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Nidalee back in. And at this point I was like, I could play Callista or I could play the Akali. I figure maybe the Akali would be better between the 2 of these. I still don't feel like what I have is especially good here. Again, I have no 2-star units, and I don't have a Chosen in here right now, but I am going to go ahead and use my 2 items that I've gotten thus far to put a Sunfire Cape onto the Vi. And one thing that I do have as an advantage here is I have gone ahead and leveled to 4, so I do get to have that extra champion in comparison to Rienzo. Now, Rienzo has 2 chain vests sitting there on his bench. Rienzo had not played a single game in set 4 before we ran these games as a group tonight. So don't think that Rienzo has played this game a ton. He actually did really, really well when you keep in mind the fact that he had no experience with set 4 whatsoever of Teamfight Tactics. I am going to get a nice hit here. I find another Vi, so I can make Vi 2-star, and that is going to be a big deal indeed because Vi is going to serve as my front line, which is something I need. I need someone to stand there and front line for the Nidalee as she tosses spears, and especially for Akali, who's going to jump into the back lines. A lot of these teams I'm seeing are pretty susceptible to backline access. And I'm going to shift over here to the right side because I saw more people were putting their carries over there on the right-hand side. This time I'm up against Grillo, and Grillo has what looks to be a Mage Chosen. He has Mage Chosen TF, and I actually thought that he was going to beat me, but Vi managed to get off a nice ult, and Akali was able to get in there and hit the TF, and I actually end up winning this match, which I was not expecting to see, so I do come out on top. Also did not pick up the Dazzler Lissandra Chosen as well. It didn't really seem to fit this comp, so once again, I turned down the opportunity to play a Chosen. This is me being greedy here, but I have not been called on it thus far. Now, as we get here for another minion round, this is going to be an empty board. I don't see anything that I want here. I'll use this opportunity to discuss the Warlord trait because I'm going to be playing Warlords throughout this game. So Warlord is a trait that's not seen as being the most powerful comp, at least in this patch. I suspect at some point before set 4 is done, it will be like the trait. But I'll just read the description here. Warlord units have bonus health and spell power. Each victorious combat they participate in increases the bounty by 10%, and it can stack up to 5 times. So at Warlord 3, the Warlord units get 200 health and 20 spell power. So all my Warlord units have extra health and they have extra spell power. And again, that can increase by up to 50%. They can go from 200 bonus health up to 300 bonus health if they're in combat and win 5 times. It's not enough just to be in the battle. They also have to participate in a winning combat, and there's a little graphical display underneath the champions that helps to highlight that. So this will then increase at Warlord 6, which is something you can reasonably get to in most games. At Warlord 6, it goes from 200 HP to 450 HP, 20 spell power to 40 spell power. And at Warlord 9, it goes up to 700 HP and 70 spell power. Warlord 9 is not something you're going to see very often, though. There are only 7 Warlord champs in the game. So in order to get Warlord 9, you have to, number one, you have to have at least one of the items that turns somebody into a Warlord. There is a spatula item that makes a unit a Warlord. So you either need to have 2 of them or one of them plus a Warlord chosen. So it's not something you're going to see very often. Here, because I haven't lost a round yet, I am late to pick on the carousel. I have late priority, so I just go ahead and grab the BF sword. That can be useful in a bunch of different things. I am still hoping to replace the Akali with something else. I don't really have anything I'm looking for here. I get another tasty chosen in the form of a Yasuo chosen with the duelist trait, which is really nice if you want to build a team composition around the Yasuo. That's a popular team composition to go for 3-star Yasuo and play duelist, but I felt like I was already pretty far into this team composition, and I didn't decide to head down that route in this game. So this is the 3rd chosen I've passed up, and at least so far I haven't been punished for that yet. Instead, I go ahead, I have good economy. One of the things that I had is I didn't get much in the way of items off the initial carousel, but I did get an awful lot of money. I got a bunch of 3-cost champions, and I ended up selling most of them. I think the only one I kept was the Akali in the end. So I ended up selling most of them and just turned it into gold. So I have a very strong economy here, and I'm going to look to leverage that. And then here I was trying to decide, should I pick up the Kennen? I could play Keeper if I get the Kennen in, and that would seem like a good option. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I have the Tahm Kench on my bench. I should just sell this to get to 20 gold. So I believe that I sell the Kennen and the Tahm Kench and get up to 20 gold, which I can do because one of the combat rounds is taking a very long time here. Yeah, and I just managed to get that off to get up to the 20 gold in time, so that's going to feed me quite a bit of extra money. And as soon as I see the Katarina, I'm like, all right, well, I'll drop the Vayne and I'll play the Katarina. That gets me another Warlord unit in, and that'll also add the Assassin trait for both the Akali and the Katarina here. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just play this, and hopefully I can win this round, and then I'll be able to carry a win streak into the minion round. I'm honestly kind of shocked that I won the first 4 rounds, even though I did not have a chosen in my team composition. Again, this was me being greedy and not being punished for being greedy. I am, however, up against Congresswoman's team composition here, and this is a duelist team composition, and this one has quite a few 2-star units, so this one's going to be a more difficult battle here. I'm just hoping that that Sunfire Cape, which has got a burn effect on pretty much everyone, is going to do its work. Katarina gets off a nice ult. However, that person's Katarina also gets off a nice ult. I'm like, come on, Nidalee, come on. Oh, the Tahm Kench had 24 HP. Oh, and that's very sad to lose that round because that would have carried a winning streak into the minion round, and it would have been worth quite a bit of gold if I had if I had managed to get that win. And it was decided by 1 auto attack. So, ooh, close stuff there. Tahm Kench with 24 HP. Never let it be said that these fights aren't close sometimes. Unfortunately, my assassins jumped into a part of the backlines where there weren't really any units present, and just that maybe 1 or 2 seconds it took them to walk to get into position to start attacking probably ended up deciding that fight. But again, this early in the game, you don't know who you're going to be up against, so it's a little bit tricky to position since you don't know who you're going to face. All right, so still overall, that was a really successful run through the initial sequence of combat rounds. Very happy with how that went. And at this point, I am going to look at my items and try to make something here. So I can look to make Ludens, I can look to make Hand of Justice, or the last one is the Spell Crit. And I decide out of these, as I go ahead and find another Nidalee to upgrade my board, I decide that I'm going to sell the Nidalee. And that's just so I can get the item off of her. So this will allow me to go ahead and put a Gunblade on Katarina. And then I'm going to go ahead and make Hand of Justice with the other items, because if you've seen, I know I did this in one of my previous videos, Gunblade, really important item on a lot of these assassin type champions. It's a really key item on Evelyn. It's a really key item on the Katarina. I'm not sure that I'm going to be playing the Katarina long term at this point in time, but I still wanted to go ahead and make this item on her. I figured that Hand of Justice and Gunblade could always be transferred over to another champion in the late game if needed. There's a couple different champs in the late game that can make use of these items really well. But for now, I'll make the Katarina stronger. Even though that enemy Pike gets off a really nice stun that hits the entire team, it's still enough to win this round, and I get back onto a win streak again. I could sell the Thresh in order to get up to 40 gold here. In retrospect, that would have been the better play, but I was considering going into a Dusk team composition. I kind of had some items that would be pretty decent on a Riven. And here I get something interesting. I finally get a Chosen I'm interested in playing. I find a Fortune Annie Chosen, and I was like, ooh, you know what? I'm playing the Katarina. She has Fortune as her trait. If I put in the Annie, then I can go ahead and get Fortune into the game, and I might as well do that because I'm not going to run this Chosen long term, but I'll get Fortune in play. I'll use it to make a little bit of extra money. I did cut into my economy by doing that. I dropped down to only 24 gold, but I'm hoping that I will be able to win some rounds and that Fortune will essentially pay for itself by feeding me some extra gold that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Like if I can win, I don't know, 3 or 4 rounds with Fortune, that'll pay back the 12 gold that I spent to level. Even with the interest mechanic, I think I'll be able to pay that back. Look at Kat getting off that ult because she's got the Gunblade. She's going to heal herself right back up to full. And so that's going to get me a win with Fortune. And hey, even if I lose a couple rounds with Fortune, I'll just get the bonus payout from Fortune when I win. I'm confident that I can... I'm confident that my team composition is strong enough that I can get wins with Fortune and not get stuck in Fortune jail, as people mention. So and then I continue to get good luck as I get another Katarina. And at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I picked up 4 gold from Fortune right there. That's really nice. And I managed to 2-star the Katarina, which is really, really big. So now this is a team composition that is going to be based around Katarina, and that's going to be my operative principle going forward. So now I'm going to be looking to play through the Cat. She is generally the unit that you play around through the early game if you're running a Warlord team composition. She is generally the unit that you're using as your carry. I have good itemization on her. I would want ideally another defensive item like a Guardian Angel or a Quicksilver would both be good choices for that 3rd item slot there. And she's just going to do a ton of damage because she is going to get the healing from the Gunblade. She might get more healing from the life on hit if she rolls that on the Hand of Justice. And with the Warlord bonus, she's going to be getting extra spell power. She's been in the comp long enough that she has stacked up the Warlord bonus completely. So she should have, what, 30 additional spell power from the Warlord? Yeah, 30 additional spell power. And if I can get up to 6 Warlords, it's going to be 60 additional spell power, which is like, I don't know, I think that's like a full death cap's worth of benefit. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good here. Fortune is pumping more money into my coffers here, so that's powering my economy. And I think that what I've got here is pretty solid overall. And I can look to run this through the mid game, and then I can look to switch into something else in the late game. It does mean I have last priority off the carousel, so I'll have to wait and see what's available. And at this point, there's not many items available, so I think I'm just going to take the BF Sword once again. My hope was that this could be a Guardian Angel, that I'd get another Chain Vest and just turn it into a Guardian Angel. So we will see if that is what pops up. I am limited here by running Akali in that other assassin slot. I would actually like to replace the Akali with a Pike, and the reason for that is I can't really run Kennen in this team composition because I already have the Akali in. And remember, if you run 2 ninjas, you don't get the benefit from ninjas. You get the benefit from ninjas only if you have 1 or 4. That is, if you run 1 ninja, they get a big bonus to AD and to spell power. 1 ninja, all ninjas gain 50 AD and 50% spell power. If you run 2 or 3, you don't get that benefit. If you run all 4 ninjas, they get a massive bonus, 140 AD and 140% spell power. But it's a little bit risky to run that because you have to find all 4 ninjas, and it can be a little tricky to find Shen. Especially now that this patch has made it harder to find the 4-cost champions. You might notice I have not seen any of the 4-cost champions yet, and that's because the drop rate for them has gone down significantly in this patch in 10.24. So playing team compositions based around 3-cost champions is much more viable in this patch than it was in the previous patches where you just hit the 4-cost champions so quickly that the 3-cost champions didn't really have much room to shine. And that's part of the reason why this Katarina team composition is kind of working, because Kat's a 3-cost champ. You can, I got access to the 2-star version of Katarina very early, and I'm just playing through her. I believe this Aatrox is the first 4-cost champion I've actually seen so far in this game, and I can't remember if I picked that up here or not. I think that I wanted to hold on to it. Oh, and there's another Jarvan. I'm also holding the Kennons on the bench because ideally I would find Pike and then drop the Akali, and then I can put Kennon in, and that will give me another Keeper, because I would like to play the Keeper trait. I also would like to get up to 6 Warlords, if at all possible. 6 Warlords would really help this team composition, but I'm actually somewhat lacking in the Warlord units. I'm not playing Garen, for example, who's usually one of the easy Warlords to find, and I also have not been able to find what's the other unit I'm missing? Oh, the Xin Zhao. Now, this fight against Grillo is still running that mage composition. That fight might look like I got destroyed, and I did take a lot of damage, but it was super close. Katarina was about an instant away from ulting and then refilling her health bar completely and killing Grillo's entire team. But he managed to get off the crowd control he needed to stop that from happening. He got off the Lulu knockup, and he got off the Nami bubble. And if I just had a Quicksilver Sash, I would have won that fight easily. But I don't have the Quicksilver Sash, so not a possibility. I find another 4-cost unit here in the form of Warwick. Warwick is not key for this team composition, but I would be happy to toss him in and play him just because that would give another Brawler, and that would buff up Vi a bit more, give her a little bit more health. I've had another very successful run through the second round of fighting here. By the way, double Morgana, which would be great for a lot of team compositions, but not great for this one, unfortunately. So I had another successful run through those last couple rounds, but I'm not going to be able to get by with just a Vi with a Sunfire Cape for much longer. So there, I do in fact find the Pike, and now I can play Kennen because I was able to find the Pike, and now I'm going to take I want to take advantage of the Keeper trait. So let's all hug together so that everyone can stand next to a Keeper unit. So now we've got Fortune still in there, and in addition to that, we have the Assassin trait, and we have the Keeper trait right here. And I'm looking at this moment on what I should make. Notice that I did get a spatula there. So what I want to do is I want to make the item that's going to turn someone into a Warlord. Now I'm going to need a Giant's Belt in order to do that. So I'm going to try to find one of those off the next carousel if possible. Fortunately, Giant's Belt is not that popular of a unit in the current metagame, so I should be able to get that. I do run into Congresswoman's team comp. Congresswoman, not one of the people in our group playing tonight, but has found the 3-star Yasuo, and that's going to be trouble because that's a duelist team comp, and that Yasuo is going to be very strong going forward. And it also means that this person is not going to have to sit and continue rolling to try to find 3-star Yasuo. They're going to be able to start leveling and probably looking to find Lee Sin and looking to find Yone. Out of the items I had right here, I went ahead and made another Gunblade on Katarina. You could argue that this is a questionable choice, that I maybe should have tried to make like a Guardian Angel or something, but we are getting later in the game here. I am going to need to use the next carousel to try to get a Giant's Belt because I want to make the Warlord spatula item, and that means the odds of me being able to get a Chain Vest are fairly low. So I want to make use of what I've got. I'm going to go ahead, make the double Gunblade. So this ensures that if Cat ults, she's going to be back to full health instantly. But it also does mean that she's very vulnerable. She does not have a gun. She does not have a Quicksilver Sash, so she's not protected against crowd control. She does not have a Guardian Angel, so she will not come back to life if she's revived. So again, she does a lot of damage, although in that fight it was Vi who did most of the damage. But it does mean that she is going to be, as I said, very vulnerable. So especially to crowd control. If she gets crowd controlled, she's in a lot of trouble. She only has 1 tier item, so she's not going to be that fast to ult. Here you're going to see Talon pop up as I'm able to cash out a couple losses with Fortune right there, which is super nice. I'm going to ditch the Annie at level 8 and then look for another Chosen there. And again, this is a difference in this patch version as compared to the previous patch version. In the last patch version, you would have wanted to look for a new Chosen. And by the way, that's troubling for me that Grillo is going to hit the 3-star Lulu. And the last patch, you would have wanted to get a new Chosen at level 7 because the odds were very good to find 4-cost Chosens at level 7. Those drop rates were nerfed significantly in this patch in 10.24. We went from you having 40% odds to get a level 4 Chosen at level 7 to 5% odds. So yeah, going from Going from 40% to 5% is a big difference. So that means that it's, the big roll down when you hit level 7 is not really a thing in this patch anymore. If you want to find the 4-cost units, you really need to get to level 8. So that's what I've been looking to do. I've been trying to econ up to level 8. Fortunately, I have not been punished for that. I've been in pretty good shape. And so I am going to look to get to level 8, sell the Annie Chosen, and then we'll look to find some other kind of Chosen that we can put into this team composition. What that is right now, I don't know, but we'll try to figure it out. I have late priority on the carousel again. I want one of these 2 giant belts. The set would, of course, be better, but if I can't get the set, I will take the Garen. But fortunately, I get the set. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Now I can take my spatula, and set will be a Warlord unit, and he's a fantastic Warlord unit. He gets the extra health and the extra spell power. It means that he is very tanky, and it means that his dunks are just amazing. He will do lots and lots of damage because he'll basically be getting a free death cap. So, like I said, this is one of the things about a Warlord comp. Just Warlords by itself is not that great in terms of a team composition, but there are a lot of late game units. Like pretty much all of the legendary units make fantastic Warlords. I actually level one too many times there, so I'm going to find another Pike, and now I need to sell the Annie. But I think that what I decide here is, all right, I do want to do a roll down at level 8 to try to get stronger, but I do want to cash out on Fortune if I can one more time. And I think that I'm strong enough that I can do that against one of these other team compositions. Like, I think that I'm stronger than some of the other comps. And I end up getting matched up against Rienzo. Rienzo's running a cultist setup here, and I was pretty confident that if I hit someone like Rienzo, that I would be able to win the match and then be able to cash out on Fortune. So Cat gets off a nice ultimate. This match is looking really good, but there's gonna be a big crit right there I think from the Callista. So I was like, oh, I'm actually gonna lose this, but fortunately Set's on the job, and he's gonna get off the dunk, and I'm able to win that ghost round, and that'll allow me to cash out on Fortune. And I was able to get a lot of use out of that Annie. And now is the proper time to retire her because now I can find a 4-cost Chosen with good odds to find one and then look to get stronger into the late game. So yes, give me that sweet Fortune money. Thank you very much. We'll take out Annie. And now I can look to play something else. I'm going to just toss in the Aatrox. I really need to find my last Warlord unit. So I need to find Xinjiao, or especially I need to find the Azir. Azir would be the unit that I want because Azir is both a Warlord and he's also a Keeper unit as well. So he would allow me to probably get up to Keeper 4, and he also would, of course, be another Warlord. So, like I said, I'm just playing what I've got for right now. I'm holding on to the Shen because I'd love to make Shen somehow. And I also have good odds to make Cultist in here if I can. Remember, I'm playing the Pike. I have been holding on to the Aatrox in part for that same reason. And I'm also have the chance to find Zillion in the late game. I'm up against Grillo once again. Set gets off a really nice dunk, and then he's going to have to come right back out of timeout again. And unfortunately, Katarina was not able to get her ult off. So once again, Katarina unable to ult, and so Grillo's team composition is going to come out on top. Grillo, you might notice, is staying at level 6. He's slow rolling at level 6 and looking for to 3-star his mage units. So he's playing 6 mages, which is not really a meta composition, but he's playing 6 mages with Elderwood. He has the Mage Chosen, and then he's slow rolling to go, and he's, like I said, slow rolling to try to 3-star those units. He has found the 3-star Lulu. If he finds 3 stars on some of his other units, it's going to be big. And then I get a huge hit right here at level 8 as I find a Riven Chosen. And she has the Keeper trait, which is going to be amazing for me because it's going to allow me to get up to 4 Keepers in this team comp. I'm already running Warlord. I mentioned that I am running I was running the Keeper trait as well. And so now I can look to just go to 9. I'm actually going to... What was I going to do here? I grabbed the Aatrox. I was looking to sell the Vi and put in the Riven, but I do need to get... I do need to make sure that I can get more Warlord units in play. So we'll take out the Aatrox for right now, put in the Riven to get Keeper in, and then I've got the 2-star Cannon, so I want to put that back in, and I will look to do that as well. I'm like, what do I take out? I was like, I guess I take out the Pike, but that gets me up to Keeper 4, which is going to be really nice. So as we have this fight here, this is against that Yasuo team competition, and unfortunately, Congresswoman has already found the Yone and has put a duelist spat on the Yone. I was like, oh boy, that's not good. Not only is Yone in the team composition to make Exile 2, Yone is also a duelist, and this person's running like Duelist 6 or Duelist 8 or something crazy like that. So this is going to be a problem team composition. This is not going to be easy. to deal with this. And so not surprisingly, I'm going to lose that round. I was like, that's unfortunate. Then I end up selling the pike, which I should not have done. I should have held on to that pike just for the long term, but whatever. As far as the Keeper trait, let me just spend a minute here describing what the trait does. So Keeper, at the start of combat, Keepers grant themselves and all nearby allies a shield. This shield is 50% stronger on Keepers. Keeper 2 is a 175 shield. Keeper 4 is a 250 shield. So everybody that stands next to the Keepers gets a shield at the beginning of combat. And there I went ahead and made a Guardian Angel and put that on the Riven, which makes sense. Now, if I could do this, like if I could somehow remove an item and put it on someone, I would take one of the gun blades off Cat and I would put that Guardian Angel on the Katarina, because I'm not really playing through the Riven. Riven is more in here for the traits. She's not the carry for this team composition. She'll do a lot of damage in the fights, but she's more being played for her traits than being played for her damage at this point. It's really Katarina that's the main damage carry, so I would love to have the Guardian Angel on her. But I do have Zilean in the team composition now. I was able to find the Zilean, and that's going to be really nice. So Zilean will provide a little bit of safety for the Katarina, and there'll be a chance maybe that she'll get Zilean chrono shifted, which would be really nice for me in these fights. And again, now I'm really looking to get that last Warlord. I'm still at Warlord 5, and getting up to Warlord 6 would help me so much in this team composition. What I really need, and there's Xinjiao, by the way, so I'm like, all right, now I can get up to Warlord 6, but I would have to take something out, and I'm trying to figure out what I would remove. Like, I guess I could take the Zilean out, because Zilean isn't technically providing any traits. His Cultist trait is not in, Mystic is not in, but I'm hesitant to do that, because I really like playing Zilean. Again, the unit I need to find is the Azir, because Azir will give me another Warlord, gets me up to 6 Warlords. He gives me another Keeper. That would allow me to drop one of my Keepers, and the one I would drop would, of course, be Kennen, because by having Kennen in the team composition, I can't play one of the other ninjas. And Kennen is just kind of not a great unit overall. I mean, he's okay, but is not really seen as being one of the stronger units. So at this point, I'm looking to go to level 9. At level 9, I can put in Xinjiao. Hopefully, I can find the Azir there. I should have good odds to find the Azir if I can get there. Here I'm up against Rienzo, and although Seth gets off a nice dunk, he's got a strong Jhin in the back lines there. Pretty good items. The death cap is not what you would pick if you had your choice, but his Jhin doing an awful lot of damage. And now Grillo is up against... oh boy, a Xinjiao that can't seem to stop healing. Is the Veigar going to be enough? No, not quite. And it looks like those duelist compositions are a little bit tricky for Grillo's mage team composition. So on this carousel, I see that there's an Azir. I was like, ooh, Azir, that's great. And then I was like, wait a minute. There's another Warlord spatula on this carousel. I can find Azir. At this point, I was like, no. Go for the Warlord spat. I was like, I can find another Azir, but I can't find another Warlord spatula. I was like, this is amazing. Now I can run Warlord 6, and I don't even need to run very many Warlord units. So that's, again, one of the little secrets to the Warlord's team composition. The Warlord units themselves, a lot of them aren't that great. Like, you don't really want to run, like, Garen in the late game. You don't really want to run, like, Vi in the late game. But the Warlord trait is fantastic. So if you have a way of getting the Warlord trait into the team comp without having to play Warlord units, it's just fantastic. So I am going to sell the Vi, and I'm going to replace her in the team composition with Aatrox. And that's going to allow me to hopefully get Cultist into the comp later. And then I toss in the Xinjiao. So there we go. We've got Warlord 6. We've got Keeper 4. And I can still make this team comp a lot better. I've got Set as a Warlord. I have Aatrox as a Warlord. Aatrox wouldn't be my first choice as a Warlord, but I'm thinking I can probably get the Cultist trait. Now I want to get Pike back into the team comp, which is why it was silly for me to sell the Pike 2-star. Should have held on to that earlier. Especially because I would have a decent chance to maybe find Pike 3-star, which is really nice. Here, by the way, Katarina manages to get chrono shifted, and then she gets an ult off, and you can see how these fights with Grillo are really determined by whether Cat gets an ult off or not, because she was going to die, but Zilean was spot on with his chrono shift, and then she ults, and instantly she's back to full health again, and so that round I'm able to win as opposed to the previous rounds that I lost. So... still looking to upgrade this team comp. Really want to find the Azir. I am level 9, so I have good odds to find Azirs right now. And then I'm going to find Lee Sin's, and I was like, yeah, you know, Lee Sin. Oh, thought that I actually played the Lee Sin there. I also considered going towards Cat 3-star, and I probably should have been doing that. Instead, I decided to make a play for Riven 3-star, because I do have a Riven chosen after all. And there I find more Lee Sin's. I also sell the Yone, which is a mistake. I should just hold on to the Yones. Like, I should be looking to replace the Aatrox Warlord with a Yone Warlord, because that would just be better overall. Not that there's anything wrong with having the Aatrox in there. He does help provide a little bit more frontline, but like I'm not running Vanguards in this team composition, so it's not like there's a huge incentive to run the Aatrox. The Aatrox is certainly not a bad unit, but like there are other units that could make better use of that Warlord Spatula. And that's one of the things you always want to be thinking about, how you can upgrade your team composition when you're playing. And like I said, since I have double Warlord spats, Set is a fantastic choice for one of them, but I could probably find someone else better than the Aatrox to put the other Warlord spat on. Yes, I do want to get Cultist into the game. I do want to get Assassin back into the game as well. Like I said, I want to drop the stupid Xinjiao. I want to find Azir so I can drop him, maintain the Warlord 6, but then also maintain Keeper 4. Like, Aatrox allows me to drop Kennen, and then I can I drop the Kennen, drop the Xinjiao, and then I can look to play other units while still holding on to Keeper 4 and Warlord 6, and hopefully get both Cultist and also get Assassin into the game. Katarina does kind of need the Assassin trait in. Assassin trait allows her spells to crit, which otherwise I would need the Jeweled Gauntlet for. So I do kind of need to get that back in. But I am going to get a big hit with the 2-star Set. I'll toss the Trap Claw on him because I'm running him as secondary carry. Again, I should hold on to these Yones. There, I managed to get up to 6 ribbons, so I'm getting closer to maybe ribbon 3-star. And then there is a Zillion here. So once again, I ditched the Yone, which is, again, probably a mistake. Should probably just hold on to that. The game clearly seems to want me to play Yone 2-star. And then I finally get the Azir, and I want to get the Azir into my team comp. So I end up selling the ribbons. And again, in retrospect, I think that's a mistake. I think I should have just locked there. Like, there's plenty of rounds left in the game. I didn't need to sell those 3 ribbons. I think I should have continued going towards ribbon 3-star. I just was so eager to get the Azir into the team comp that I just decided to grab that unit. But like I said, I think that I should have just held on to the ribbons because I had a decent chance to get ribbon 3-star. I already had 6 ribbons. And like here, I'm up against Congresswoman's comp with the Duelist again. Katarina's not going to get it done, but what about Aatrox or Set? Well, Set is going to get it done. He gets off a huge dunk. And thanks to having Warlord 6 in, now he's got the big spell power bonus. Because, like, yeah, there's another ribbon. And okay, yes, maybe the shop would have looked different. I know all that. But still, that's a lot of ribbons I could have potentially had in here. Like, that could have been 7 ribbons. And I certainly could have been at Yone 2-star by now. I really should have gone for that. Again, look to drop the Aatrox. And again, yes, Aatrox is providing Cultist, but a Yone 2-star with a Warlord spat on there with Warlord 6 would be absolutely ridiculous. And then I could also look to potentially get Shen into this team composition because Shen would make Mystic and Shen would also make Adept. So just other possibilities I could have gone for here. But in any case, my team comp is quite strong. And again, this fight is going to be determined by can Kat get her ult off or not. She's been bubbled again, but she has been chrono shifted. So she will come back to life. Now, can she manage to get her ult off? Let's see. Come on, Kat, you can do it. There we go. As soon as she ults, she's right back to full health again. And if Kat ults, we're going to win the fight. But Grillo does have an awful lot of 3-star champions over there. So these fights between us are really entertaining because they turn so heavily on whether Katarina gets her ult off or not. We are starting to have people disappear from the game. It's down to just me and Grillo and Congresswoman who is running that duelist team composition. So again, I'm looking for what else I can find here. Again, I could have had Pike 2-star in here, but had foolishly sold that. And now I really should reposition to get the Keeper benefit on more units. Yeah, that person's at Duelist 8 with Yone having the Duelist trait. So that's pretty scary. And meanwhile, Grillo's got that Mage 6 team composition with a whole bunch of 3-star champions. He's looking for a 3-star version of Veigar, and his team comp will really pop off if he can manage to get that, because Veigar is his main carry. So up against this team comp, it's really about the Yasuo and the Yone, and whether we can deal with them. And we seem to be doing a pretty good job against most of these units, but then Set goes into timeout, and is Riven going to be able to hold the fort? She's just buying time for Set to come back. I just need to get off a big dunk here. Can he manage to get that off? Well, he does instantly kill the Yasuo, but nope, not quite enough to finish off the Yone. Unfortunately, they weren't standing next to each other. That's kind of how I kill those units. Those units have insane lifesteal. The way that I kill them is for Set to dunk them and just one-shot them and to just ignore all their lifesteal. This carousel offers up another interesting possibility. I was thinking about the Quicksilver, but then I see there's an Assassin spat. I was like, ooh, Assassin. That will allow me to drop the Pike, who is being played. Admittedly, he does provide Cultist trait, but like the Cultist trait is not providing that much right now. This will allow me to drop the Pike, and then I can put Assassin on someone else, and that'll allow me to play Yone. So I'm just going to toss this in. Now I maintain Assassin for Katarina, and now I can get Yone into the comp. But again, I could have had a Yone 2-star by now if I hadn't wasted all that money rolling. And look, there's another Riven. That could be 8 Rivens potentially, but I am going to manage to 2-star the. I'm going to manage to 2-star the. I'm going to manage to 2-star the Azir there. And Grillo says, I wouldn't have spent 40 gold on the last Veigar if I had been able to find it off Carousel. So he has made the 3-star Veigar, and that's going to make his comp much stronger. But I'm feeling better with the Yone in there. Rienzo said he found about 40 Veigars. I am feeling better. Yone is very strong in this patch version. I think they overbuffed him a little bit. The way that what he does is he cuts the armor and magic resistance of any units he hits by 90%. Yeah, it's really ridiculous. When he does his big dash across the map, any of the units he hits, their armor and MR get slashed by 90%. It's crazy. So you want to play him if you can, even though he doesn't fit the rest of this team composition. It's still really nice having him in here. So now the unit I'm trying to find is Shen, because now that I'm not playing Cultist, if I can find Shen, I can take the Aatrox out of my comp and put Shen in. And then I can also transfer the Warlord spat over to Yone, which is the person I would prefer to have it on. Shen would make Adept 2, and he'd also make Mystic 2 with Zilean. So I'm looking for Shen, and that's kind of the last unit in this comp. I've got all sorts of wacky stuff going on in here. I have 2 Warlord spats. I have the Assassin spatula on the Yone. So my comp is really quite odd, but I've been able to make use of all these spatula items to get some pretty crazy stuff in there between the Warlord set and the Warlord Aatrox, which isn't as good of a pick as I already mentioned. And I also again have the Keeper version of the Chosen with the Riven in there. So once again, I'm up against Grillo. Is Katarina going to get her ult off? Let's see. I believe that she died without getting her ult off. And with the Veigar 3-star, this team composition is much harder to kill now. So it's going to be up to Set to get off a big dunk. And he does get off a pretty big one, but it's not quite enough to finish it off. And it looks like Grillo has my number in this fight. So that's going to knock me down to 18 HP. Yet Katarina not able to get her ult off. So once again, if I'd somehow been able to get a Quicksilver Sash on her, or maybe if I'd been able to get a Guardian Angel, but honestly, the item that would be better here is the Quicksilver. Grillo has really good itemization on his Veigar. He's got the Gunblade for healing. He has the Morellos to apply the healing debuff, and he has blue, so Veigar casts faster. He has 3-star Annie. He has 3-star Veigar. He has 3-star Lulu, and I believe he has 3-star Twisted Fate as well. I mean, that's a lot of 3-star units to have. And with 6 Mage trait, they all cast twice and cast at increased spell power. So yeah, pretty good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get a Jeweled Gauntlet here. I also get a Nico, so I was like, ooh, you know, if I can find one more Yone, that would be enough to get Yone 2-star. Of course, I sold a bunch of Yones like an idiot earlier in this game. Should have been a little bit more patient. Oh, by the way, there's a Riven. Yeah, and I got a Nico, so I certainly could have gotten a 3-star Riven, and I think that probably would be enough to win this game. So the silliness of me in not in selling the 3 Rivens that I had earlier was really dumb. I think that might have been enough to make the difference in this game, because I've certainly seen enough Rivens that I could have had 3-star Riven, and a 3-star Riven is just nuts. So yeah, probably should have been able to get that 3-star. In any case, I am up against the Duelist team comp that Congresswoman is running here. So once again, it's largely going to come down to, can we kill Yone and can we kill the Yasuo? Well, it looks like we managed to kill the Yasuo. This person has made 3-star Shinjal as well, so we have so many 3-stars in this game, but once the Yasuo is out of this team composition, we pretty much have this under control. Seth doesn't even need to finish his push-ups. And then Grillo is going to be up against Congresswoman here in the non-ghost round. And it looks like for all that Annie's tanky, she can't deal with that endless lifesteal on the Yasuo. So we've kind of got a weird trio here. I beat Congresswoman, but I lose to Grillo. Grillo beats me, but loses to Congresswoman. And then Congresswoman beats Grillo, but loses to me. So each of us beats one of the other team comps. We have like this merry-go-round set up here. It's really quite amusing. Each of us beats one of the other comps and loses to the other comp. So now I was able to find a Yasuo, and I dropped the Nico. So now I've got Yasuo 2-star, but I haven't been able to find the Shen yet. Again, I would love to find the Shen. Shen's Mystic trait would be really good if I'm up against Grillo. So like I said, I want to find Shen, and I did find a Shen earlier, but then sold it. I would like to find the Shen, drop the Aatrox, move the Warlord's banner over to the Yone, and that would be my setup here. So now I'm up against Congresswoman. Set's dunk just is fantastic. It knocks out most of the enemy team. We still have to deal with that Yasuo and with that Yone, though. So Yasuo heals an insane amount, so it probably comes down to whether Set can get off his dunk and kill Yasuo that way, and he does. And is that going to be enough damage to finish this off? Yes, it is. 19 damage. Grillo is up against my Ghost, and that's a little bit unfortunate because if he had been up against Congresswoman's Ghost, I think that he probably loses, and then the match is just over. So now it's going to come down to me against Grillo, and I wasn't feeling super confident about this because every time I came up against Grillo's comp, I kept losing. As I said, we kind of had this carousel merry-go-round thing here where I beat Congresswoman, but I lost to Grillo. So I was like, well, I was really hoping I could find Shen there because Mystic 2 would sure be helpful against his comp, giving everybody on my team extra MR. But Shen does not show up. I've been looking for Shen the last couple rounds. It's not here. I did not hold those ribbons like I was supposed to. And Grillo, thank goodness you killed his Yasuo. So it's one last round, but as I said, I'm not feeling super confident. Now, can Katarina get her ult off? A good Cat is right in the middle of the enemy team. If she gets her ult off, I'm going to win the fight. But oh no, it's a bubble on Katarina, and then it's a knockup for Lulu, and Cat, she did not come back down from that bubble, and she never got her ult off. So even though this fight is close, my team's actually doing a pretty good job here. Veigar is still alive, and Veigar's the one I have to kill. If I can't kill Veigar, I can't win this fight. It's like, go, Set, go! Can you get a dunk off? Oh, that Annie, if he dunked Annie there, that might have killed the entire team. Because Set's ult does damage based on the health of the unit he's dunking. And that Annie had a lot of health. I think if Set gets that off, he might just one-shot the entire team, but it does not go off. Grillo wins the round, and Grillo, let's be fair, had a really sick team composition there. All those 3-star units. Also, by the way, I closed the loading screen here for some reason. But anyway, it was a memorable game. It was a fun game. Thanks to everyone who joined me, Grillo and the rest of the gang. Hope you guys watch this. Until next time, take care, folks.